It's built essentially for a world where billions of people essentially want to integrate blockchain technology into their everyday lives. To think about it as a decentralized internet layer, basically built directly into Telegram. And I think that's what makes Ton extremely unique. We have the deep link to Telegram. We are basically powering the Web3 mini apps within Telegram. And it allows anybody who has the Telegram messaging app to access sort of crypto service apps, make payments, have everyday use of blockchain technology without actually leaving the app itself.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Leaders, the podcast which explores ideas and innovations driving the future of finance and technology. I'm your host, Sam North, and it's a pleasure to be here today, and we're joined by a key figure in the crypto space, Max Crown, the CEO of Ton Foundation, to unpack what makes the open network unique, its deep ties to Telegram, and why Ton could reshape the future or crypto adoption. Let's get into it. Max, first of all, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's great to have you with us today. Where are you logging in from today?
I'm logging in from London today. I'm normally spending the summer here in London.
Nice. Well, I'm also in London. I look out the window now and there's blue skies. We could get used to this.
I hope so. Not just the 3 days of summer we normally have. But yeah, no, it's a gorgeous day. Bit cold, but sunshine is amazing.
Yeah, we can't complain too much when there's blue skies. For those that don't know, can you give us a little bit of an explainer of what the open network is in simple terms? For someone who's maybe never heard of it, how does it differ to other blockchains?
Yeah, no, I mean, the open network, or, abbreviated TON, like we normally just refer to it as TON, is a next generation blockchain. It's built essentially for a world where billions of people essentially want to integrate blockchain technology into their everyday lives. To think about it as a decentralized internet layer, basically built directly into Telegram. And I think that's what makes Ton extremely unique. We have the deep link to Telegram. We are basically powering the Web3 mini apps within Telegram. And it allows anybody who has the Telegram messaging app to access sort of crypto service apps, make payments, have everyday use of blockchain technology without actually leaving the app itself. Most blockchains, in a way, require you to jump through certain hoops. You need to install a wallet. You need to learn certain jargons. What's a seed phrase? How do I log in? And we're trying to abstract all of this away by basically building this into Telegram and into mini apps, essentially. So it's it's been short.
Exciting time. And how long have you been the CEO now?
It's been recent. I mean, it's 3 weeks officially, just before Token, so brand new on the job. Obviously, I've known not the guys from the Ton Foundation for years. Was advising last year for a couple of months to get the lay of the land. But yeah, it was officially announced, just before Token in Singapore, in Dubai. And it's all a new experience for me.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic. It was great to have you on. So thank you again. In your opinion, what problem is Ton solving, and what's? I mean, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, please. Basically, I think accessibility, I think, is the biggest barrier preventing mainstream adoption in crypto. Right now, like if you look at other blockchains and other use cases, there's like a couple 100,000 users. Sometimes there's 1 million users. We are trying to bring blockchain to about 1 billion plus people. Like right now, Telegram has 1 billion plus users. And it's still too complicated to basically do anything in crypto normally. Like, if I would go to my grandmother and say, hey, set up a wallet to do something, she would look at me with big eyes and like, hey, what's blockchain? What's a wallet? What's Telegram? And so on. So we're trying to change that by basically embedding, our technology into Telegram, make it easy to use, and make it very easy to scale. So it's essentially a distribution layer for, to transmit information, data, payments in between users. And you don't have to be crypto native. Like, I think that the main goal is to make it just so seamless and so easy that you don't even know there's any crypto technology behind it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, by the way. And when, researching into this and looking at Telegram as well, I have to say I didn't realize how big it was. 1 billion users, incredible.
Billion users and growing super fast. I mean, especially in the United States and Europe. I mean, I think it's one of the fastest growing messaging apps out there right now.
Yeah, massive, absolutely. How early do you think we are in in crypto. I speak to some people and they use the an American football analogy, and they're like, "We're still in the first quarter. There's still another three to go." Do you still feel like everything that's happening right now is super early?
I think it's still super early. I mean, maybe call it, second quarter.
Yeah.
Like it's still not easy to use. There's still no mass adoption. Like now more and more countries are even starting to, get into Bitcoin and crypto reserves. The United States, which changed their stance on crypto, so it's a lot more friendly. So I think that will enable the industry like really to now to build and get regulatory clarity. I think, one of the main issues in the past was there was no regulatory clarity, like which jurisdiction to go to. Is it legal? What can you do? Like what applications can you build? And I think most nations or countries are working towards that. So we're getting to a stage where mass adoption is, I think, just around the corner.
Yeah, it does feel like that. It really does. How would you describe Ton's ecosystem to a non-technical person? For example, what kind of apps or services can people use on Ton
Now,
today?
sure. I mean, it's like, you need to think about it like, think about Telegram like a super app, like
Yeah.
that you can do anything within Telegram from, messaging, video calls, conferencing. There's even a creator economy. So it's like a suite of crypto powered mini apps that are sort of literally seamlessly built into Telegram. Like, and one of the, the easiest use cases is, I can send money to friends.
Hmm.
Like in the United States, there's like this phrase Venmo me or Cash App me, where you can send $1 to anybody within an application, and we can do the same on Telegram. Like I can literally pick up my phone right now
Huh?
and put in your username, and I can send you 1 ton, or I can send you 1 USDT, which is also on the Ton blockchain, and it's just it's almost instant, takes a couple of seconds, and it solves real use cases. Like that's one aspect is payments. Another aspect is, you can play games. There's now in-game items, engage in prediction markets, which is a new trend in crypto. Interact with creator economy, and I'm not sure if you saw it recently. Like, we just launched something about it with Snoop Dogg. I think, Snoop launched his own channel on Telegram, and there's ways for people to interact with creators. Like you can, pay for messages. You can give them gifts. You can interact with your idols, or the people you look up towards, in a very easy and seamless way.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Snoop Dogg there, who's obviously he seems like he's got a real passion for crypto. Over the years, is there anyone on that sort of level that you've met that's that excitable about it? Any celebrity stories?
And that's like I think Snoop is up there. I did meet him. Did meet him myself, a couple of years ago. So he's always out there in terms of NFTs,
Yeah.
Web3, and now the creator economy has discovered there's Telegram, and we're working towards internally to basically make new standards for NFTs and just enable people to send gifts to each other, swap it out, and just engage, which I think is super exciting.
Yeah, no, it really is. As the new CEO, as you mentioned, not too long in this role, what's your elevator pitch? You're under a little bit of pressure here for why someone should care about Ton, whether they're a developer, a business, or just an everyday user.
I mean, depends how long the elevator is. But in short, I think like the summarized pitch is sort of ton is where crypto becomes practical, and then I think we kind of need to take three different elevators because we have three different parts of that question. Like we have developers, we have businesses, and we have users, and it depends who your target audience is. I think the answer will be different.
Mm.
For developers, I think the biggest selling point is its immediate access to a network of about 1 billion people. Like you have instant distribution, so you don't have to solve for, hey, how do I go to market? How do I target people? Where do I get my users from? Which I think is one of the biggest pain points in most crypto projects. Like it's right there. Like you build on Ton, you get access to 1 billion people. Like it's automatic, and growing. For businesses, pretty similar story. It's a new frontier of growth. You can accept digital payments. You can market to people. You can basically sell to 1 billion plus users. And there's a lot more updates I think coming from the Telegram side as well, just to enable this super app concept that people can just be within Telegram, go shopping, pay for your meals, exchange messages with people, exchange money with people, go pay for everyday items essentially, like almost have like a virtual bank account built in within Telegram. And then for users, it's I call it crypto that works. You don't need to know how it works.
Mm.
You don't need to know anything about the technology. You have a wallet. It's easy to it's easy to use. We abstract all the complexity, and it's just like using any other app on your phone.
Yeah, do you know what? I think that's quite important. About people don't necessarily need to know about how it all works. I don't know how a plane works, and I'm more than happy to get on a plane and trust the process and that I'm going to land okay. And I think, like you said, with crypto, it needs to be a little bit easier. It needs to be a little bit seamless. And do you guys feel like Ton is helping all of that?
Yeah, I believe so. It's like what happens underneath the hood, like how your car works. As you said, who cares, right? I'm
Yeah,
fine. Some people are the tech geeks and the developers will care, but
yeah,
the users actually they don't care. Like the users, they want ease of use, accessibility, safety, security, just things that are intuitive and they don't break. And I think that was one of the biggest issues in Web3 in the past. It was just too complicated. Like especially when you go back to the NFT craze from 2 years ago, it was so complicated sometimes to actually buy an NFT, to interact with whatever blockchain. You needed to buy Ethereum at the time, or sometimes even bridge it, and you didn't have gas fees. It was super complicated, which I think is hindering mass adoption. And we're, as I said, we're working towards that right now, just to make it easy to use for everybody.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, it does feel like mass adoption is around the corner. I guess with the US new president and his team, they seem a lot more crypto friendly than before. So right now, it feels an exciting time to be involved in crypto. Would you say?
Oh, it's an amazing time to be involved in crypto. Like, especially United States, it's a humongous market, right? It's one of the biggest, it's the biggest economy in the world. Also, like for my MoonPay times, it was one of our biggest market. So having clarity in the United States of what you can do, I think is a very, very important step uh, towards mass adoption. I think the SEC came out 2 days ago, or maybe might have been yesterday, that NFTs are not securities, which again is a massive relief for the industry, and now it just enables people to keep building on the standards and building out those products versus having to spend a lot of money on legal fees. Like, oh, can I do this? Can I not do this? Will the SEC come after me? I think just that clarity just helps everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the goals that Ton has set is 30, and correct me if I'm wrong, 30% of Telegram users by 2028. So, over 300 million people. What's the plan to achieve that? How do you sort of avoid overwhelming new users with the complexity of blockchain? I know you've already mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first thing we're going to do, and we're going to launch in the United States as well, is like make the wallet, like which I showed earlier, fully available and open to everybody as a default. Like right now, it is still geo restricted in certain countries, so we're going to take that away. So basically, all of a sudden, technically, by enabling the wallet, you already have a billion people, right? So you have a billion wallets out there. Now you just need to show people how to use it, what you can do for it, and just by educating people to make the forget that it's crypto. Just take the complexity away, make it a good user experience, and sort of battle the preconceptions that crypto is hard and it's difficult. And that's the first step essentially. And third week on the job. So number one goal is get the wallet out there, get it everywhere. And then we're going to go educational programs, educate people about Telegram, educate people about Ton. We're building a lot of applications in the ecosystem. And I'm, super happy to come back in a couple weeks, a couple months time once I've, been here for, let's say 100 days, and then, give you a concrete plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it'd be good to catch up, down the line and see how things are going as well. So this is your invite to come on again in the future.
No, appreciate it. Like, it's the same with Trump, right? It's like, hey, 100 days,
Yeah.
it's sort of, get your CLEX in, get in it, lay of the land. We're hiring a lot of new people. We hired a new VP of payments. There's going to be a press release coming out. We hired a new VP of business development, new director of gaming. So we're hiring key people basically just to support the ecosystem and just ramp up very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not necessarily saying these are the ones you have to compare to, but for this example, when you look at Solana and Polygon, they've scaled very fast, and Ton's growth from 4 million to 41 million users is very, very impressive. When looking at those, and use other examples if you want, what makes Ton's approach more sustainable or disruptive in that longer term, do you think?
I mean, I think a lot of teams are just focusing on building crypto narratives. And my personal goal is to focus on mainstream retail adoption. Nobody else has the the distribution to Telegram. Like, I think we're the only blockchain which actually has a messaging app link at this stage with 1 billion plus users. So we're just going to build on that strength with Telegram, to be honest, because nobody else can duplicate that. Like, and for us, it's not about capturing existing crypto users and compete about with the same whales, with the same TVL. For us, it's about creating new users which have never used crypto before and which want to use crypto in everyday lives. So it's a slightly different approach to the other blockchains out there.
Yeah, just on a little bit about your career. Obviously, you mentioned you've only been as the CEO for a few weeks, and before you were at MoonPay, is that right?
Yes, I'm one of the co-founders of MoonPay. So it's was Ivan, Victor, and myself founded MoonPay 2018 in September. I'm still on the board, so I'm still linked to the MoonPay team. I speak to them every week. But yeah, basically there was a challenge too good to pass.
Yes, no, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about the $500 million Telegram bond fund, how all that works and that
Sure.
kind of...
Yeah, we just announced that basically. So Telegram has corporate bonds outstanding, obviously, to fund the operation of Telegram. Running servers is quite expensive. So basically, Telegram had to finance that. So our ambition basically is to enable blockchain, enable finance on the blockchain, essentially, make it accessible for everyone. Right now, most yield products are only accessible for institutional investors or, what they call sophisticated investors or accredited investors. So what we're trying to do is, position TON as a technology layer for both infrastructure and on the application level. So basically, imagine in the future you're in a country which is underbanked, or it has a currency which is unstable, or you just don't have access to, dollar yields essentially, or European yields. So, by using TON, we're, working towards making the, RWAs, as they call it, real world assets, accessible for, almost every user in the world. Like that's the ultimate ambition. Like, it's like, think about almost like the SWIFT network for payments today.
Yeah.
Think about TON as the sort of network to, move real world assets, make it available to people, and trade them.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, and hopefully that process will be seamless and will make a lot of sense going forward.
It still has some regulatory complexities depending which each country we're working through. But yeah, I think it's a good step essentially with Libra to start launching that.
Fantastic. We spoke a little bit just then about your time at MoonPay, and obviously that was a phenomenal experience, I'm sure. How did your experience there help lead to where you are now? What lessons have you learned from that journey that you're going to apply here? And it's not a seamless switch, but I imagine there's a lot of good things you can take, right?
Oh no, absolutely. It's like it's very complementary, especially that we're focusing a lot on payments, remittances, and scalability of TON. I mean, one of the things is the importance of building proactively for compliance rather than being reactive. Like I always sort of call it sort of like, you need to color within the box. Like even if the box is fairly wide, sort of try to stay within the limits and adhere to the rules as much as you can versus asking for forgiveness later. That's just there's no time to basically pick fights with regulators or ignore compliance. Like one of the things first thing I've implemented here in TON is enable chain forensic tools. There are certain providers out there to have chain analytics, which are needed basically for any exchange listing, for almost any serious application on a blockchain. You need to have certain tools in place. So we're already implementing that, and we're going out with what we call a trust and safety campaign, just to educate users about scams and the perils of using crypto. We're setting up law enforcement lines and communication lines that law enforcement can reach out if they have any questions about usage of TON or illicit activities. And we're just trying to be as transparent and proactive as we possibly can, like to work with as many law enforcement agents as possible, but also to help users feel safe and try to eliminate scams and all other illicit sort of activity within any blockchain. Like basically, we're trying to make it safe from day one. So if illicit actors, they can basically go somewhere else.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest risk at the moment is to crypto in general, or TON? How do you see that? I mean, because I suppose as CEO, you've got to be aware of any risks, haven't you?
No, I mean, there's always technology risk. Obviously, I think the biggest risk is regulatory risks
Yeah.
that somebody comes up with some regulation about a blockchain in general, like a regulator which doesn't understand
Mhm.
what how blockchain works. So this is more industry generic. Like it's not specifically just to Ton that would apply to pretty much any other proof of stake blockchain, essentially. And then it's negative press that you have illicit actors who are basically using your technology for illicit activities. So that's why it's so important to like, go out there and be as transparent as possible. Like ultimately, everything is traceable on the blockchain
Yeah.
if you have the tools. So it's actually not a very good place to, try to hide things, to do illicit activities, and especially if you have a stance as a foundation to support all the forensic tools out there and cooperate with, all the different agencies. It doesn't make it a very attractive place to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ton blockchain has been praised relentlessly recently about, its empowerment of local builders and communities in emerging markets. How do you plan to balance grassroots adoption with the demands of major tech partnerships with those like, Libra and Telegram?
Yeah, I don't think it's an either or. I think it's
Hmm.
I see it as a flywheel. We need major partners, like Telegram, like Libre, and so on, to basically work together. But we also need the local builders, which drive innovation and drive real world use cases. Like we can give people the framework. This is like what we want to do, but then ultimately the foundation is to support. Basically, both from multinationals to enable, Ton, enable the payment rails, but also grassroots down in Lagos, down in Sao Paulo. We're out there. We have local hubs in certain countries trying to educate people about Ton. We're giving grants to builders, and we have a whole team basically led by Alona to basically it's just here for ecosystem support. It depends on what kind of project it is. Like it ranges from simple grants to full on support with go to market, introduction to investors, support from our core team to actually even help build certain smart contracts and support people as much as we can, essentially.
Yeah. A few more questions before we wrap it up. Always appreciate your
Of course.
time. What does a current week look like for Max Crown at the moment as CEO?
A lot of meetings. It's a lot of getting to know people. We have about 100 people in the foundation. So it's basically trying to get to know everybody, speaking to investors, speaking to key partners. It's a lot of fact finding right now. So like the majority of the week is literally spent in meetings,
Yeah.
and just speaking to people basically. Otherwise, you don't really know what's going on. And, it's like in a remote world, you can't just say, everybody come to the office. Yeah, that's 90% meetings, and then at some point hiring the right people, which we
Yeah.
said we already did, and then it's going to strategic work basically of like, hey, how do we actually get there? How do we grow the ecosystem? What are the strategic partnerships you want to enter in the next 6 to 9 months? Given that crypto runs two three times the speed of the normal world, so we have to be very very quick and very agile.
Yeah, very fast-paced area of the market. Another question I have, and I like asking this question to CEOs, whether it be of crypto assets or whether it be of public companies. How often would you like just check the price of the coin or the general market? Is it something you wake up and immediately check, or is it where you say to yourself, the price today doesn't matter. It's all about future development. I've got to think long term. How do you go about it?
Like I wish it was the latter. Like ultimately the price, the daily price doesn't matter, but it's literally one of the first things I do in the morning. And my
Yeah,
wife is like, "Why are you checking?" It's like it's the first thing you open up. You open up your trading apps. Like,
yeah,
where's Bitcoin at? Where's the
yeah,
market at? It's just a habit. Like I do check the price multiple times a day.
yeah,
I have a fairly big crypto portfolio as well. So it's like it does matter. But long term, I don't sell.
yeah,
It's like long-term hodl, and whenever I try to play with it and like, oh, let's time it, let's sell, let's buy it back. It always ended up being worse than just holding it and forgetting about it. It's like, put it away, in a secure storage and just don't look at it for a couple of years is probably the right approach here.
yeah. I mean, there's a great saying, isn't there? Time in the market beats timing the market is one that was always stood with me. And I think for these things to have that patience is important. Final question, Max. Looking, let's just say, pick a number, 10 years ahead. What does success look like for Ton under your leadership? Are there any big goals out there, like replacing traditional payment systems or redefining internet privacy that you're aiming for?
I mean, it's like, to bring it down one level, I think success for me is like over 10 years. Like, if I don't have to explain blockchain to my grandmother anymore, I think we have succeeded in a way, if people just know how it works. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's like when people use a blockchain like Ton, for example, for everyday use, and you don't even know it's there. I think that's ultimate success, that you're powering, payments, remittances, and it just works, and people just don't even realize what's behind it. So I do think we have a long way ahead, but Ton being the default blockchain for digital payments and apps globally would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, exciting times now, exciting times ahead, I am sure. Max, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam, for having me. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to coming back in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.